Is my mic still working? Yes, it is.
is the wishbones, which are just here. Next up is the wishbones, which are just here. We've got a front right and front left. We'll put these on first. And the wishbones are a 10mm wishbone. One on the left, one on the right. Also, they make sure that done up all the way, like all the way. Can't be loose, otherwise you're gonna have problems. Just saying that real quick. Next up is the spindles. We've got front right, front left. We'll pop these on real quick. Now with the spindles, the bolts are really quick on that it's just down from where the hole is. That's done. Next up is the steering rods, which got front right and front left as well. These basically connect like that. We have the other one here. The steering rod should be a 12mm, which is just up. the top and one on the bottom left, bottom right. Now you might be thinking, why am I screwing these in now? Why not do all the ends in? You would do it after, it will automatically detect and everything up. Ruts, this is basically the front end of the suspension. We've got a front left and a front right. There we go. Ruts and everything up. But I don't think I've had a case where that happened to me. So every time I've bought the car and done everything up, when it doesn't really sink, I will Next up is the struts. This is basically the front end of so for the top screws, it's a 10mm. For these ones just here. There we go. Do the other side as well. We're now going to grab a 9mm and we're going to do the bolts that are just down here. So the right, basically, sort of, oh my god, that just happened. Okay, we're back. Basically, you got the strut, comes down, and basically behind it is 4 bolts you've got to do on. There's 2 on each side, so make sure you do them up all the way properly. They'll probably come around here, and there we go. There is the front of the suspension done. Next up, we are going to be doing the back. So we're going to start with the another wheel, I'll be on the other side. And to do though, it is a 13 mil, which is this one here, and we're going to do it up. As the front wheel's done, then let's now lower the jack, and then let's move it to the rear, and then run the well. There we go. That is the wheels installed. Floor jack just out of the way here. Boom. And there we go. Chassis is complete with the wheels and everything. We can do the wheel alignment right now, but I'm probably going to save all the alignment and the tuning and stuff like that at the end of the video. I like to usually do it at the end just because it's, that's how pushing the Satsuma in the garage. Now, since we've accidentally, moved the car. Now, when you're pushing the car, since it's not aligned, the wheels, it is going to do it. But if you push it, shed, no, let's get started. Actually, you know what? I was going to do something, but I reckon we should change it up this year. I reckon we might do the exterior. We'll do the exterior, we'll do the interior, and then we'll do a fender right and a fender left. So, pop that on. By the way, if you put something on the car and it instantly falls off, just give it a moment and then try to put it back on and see if it works. And the fenders are a 5 mil, and there is 5 we've got to do. So there are 3 that's on the top here. And then there is 2 at the bottom, at the front here. So there's one near the headlight. And there's one that's a bit hidden, which is further down from just where the headlight one is, just down under here. we'll just do the same on the other side as well. Alright, there we go. The fenders are on. Next up, we are going to do the doors. We'll do the right one first, since we're over here. Tuck the other one on as well. Boom. Now with the doors, there's a little trick. You don't want to fully open the door, otherwise they'll fall off just like that. So basically, the trick is, there's a little, the right one first, since we're over here. There we go. Tuck the other one on as well. Boom. Now with the doors, there's a little trick. You don't want to fully open the door, otherwise they'll fall off just like that. So basically, the trick is, let's quickly put this on. There we go. The trick is not to hold the mouse button, but to click it. Simply click it, and it will actually, you'll see the door, it clicks into place, but it doesn't fall off, sort of thing. You haven't just completely, thrown the door open and it's fallen off. So you've opened it and it's sat where it can sit, where you can, and to do those, it is a 10mm. There we go. And there is 4 bolts that we got to do. We'll get inside just so it's easier. There is 2 on the bottom here, and there's 2 at the top here. Pretty easy to see. Can't really miss them. And then, boom, there we go. So when you open up the door fully, it doesn't fall off. Perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for. And there we go. Both doors are in. Make sure that this is on properly, which it is. Good. So that's the doors done. Next up, we're going to do the boot lid, which is just here, and we're going to pop you on. See how it just broke? What we're going to do is just go take it off, let it chill for a moment, then pick it up again. We should get the option. There it is. Boom. Perfect. That time it didn't fall off. Now with this one, you can fully open it without it falling off, which is good. Same thing with opening and closing it. Alright, so to do those, we are going to need a 6mm. And there is 4 bolts we're going to do. And they're basically just up this little thingo here. And basically, we've just got 2 that we've got to do.
What's het beheer van uw zakelijke auto?
Yes, go back. More. This game is and stays a nightmare. Okay. Now you can see, yeah, we got a lot of superficial damage. So we'll fix that by deleting the mesh save. Because I'm not gonna fuck with this. Come on, you ugly bastard. Get in there. Get in there, you piece of shit. Okay, and you. To back you up. That is incredibly lame.
Of uw bedrijf nu één voertuig heeft, of een wagenpark van honderden.
Hello, sir. Why can I not open you, sir? 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 Excuse me, sir. I have to be able to open you. But you are not opening. Open sesame, open sesame, open sesame. It don't work, it don't work. I want to shoot
Four
myself.
bolts we're gonna do, and same thing with opening and closing it. Alright, so to do those, we got the option. There it is. That time it didn't fall off. Now with this one, you can fully open it without it falling off, which is good. Same thing with opening and closing it. Alright, so So to do those, we are going to need a 6mm, and there is 4 bolts we're going to do, and they're basically just up this little thing over here, and basically we've just got 2 that we've got to do. Alright, there we go. Boot is now installed. We're going to do the bumpers. We got the rear bumper, which we'll do first. Put you on.
Se on Teemotelta kaupalta terve. Sulla on vissi jotakin osia siellä nää oottelemassa, kun tuli tämmönen isohko paketti tänne näin.
Somewhere around here. Same thing can happen again with the bumpers where it can just fall off as you try to put it on. Do the little trick where you just let it chill for a moment and then try to put it back on. There we go. And for those, it is a 8mm. Yep, there should be 2 that are kind of hidden, but you can just sort of see where the screw would sit in, sort of thing. So same on the other side here. And then on this side, you can't actually really see them. It's really just like real narrow and tight. You can't really see it. So if you pretty much just move your mouse around, you'll see where the screw will sort of pop in. Same on the other side. Next up, we'll do the grill, the stock grill. Put that on. There we go. And for that, it is a 6mm, and there is 2 that we've got to do. And they're basically located on the top right and top left of where the grill is, just above the headlight. And boom, there we go. Next up is the headlights, which is actually just located over here. And pretty much we're going to pop, oh, wrong one, you in there, and you in Next up is the headlights, which is actually just located over here. And pretty much we're going to pop wrong one, you in there, and you in there. And for the headlights, they are a 7mm. Now you might be thinking, you haven't put, well, we haven't. But we're going to be doing that once we do the wiring. So, because when we do the wiring, we'll have to rip out the grill and the headlights anyway. So, technically it's not really that good to do the exterior now, but we're mixing things up a little, you know. Do these in, boom, perfect. Next up is the rear light.
Tää Sirkka mummo se täällä soittaa. Etkö sitä
which is just here. So, rear lights, form, located next to the headlights, which is convenient. Form, there we go. Those will need wiring, so where they are now is good. And then the hubcaps for the wheels, just up on the shelf, just up here.
Verlinden en ik ga voor een samenleving waarin we uitgaan van de kracht van mensen en waarin we geloven in het algemeen fatsoen van normen en waarden en wetten die we respecteren en ondersteunen. Ik wil meebouwen aan een samenleving waar het veilig is voor kinderen om op te groeien, waar we ons geen zorgen hoeven te maken wanneer ze buiten willen spelen, naar school gaan of op stap willen gaan met vrienden of vriendinnen. In die samenleving is geen plaats voor gedrag dat onze buurt onveilig maakt.
So those are on, and that's it. That's really it for the exterior. There is the hood that we've got to put on, but we don't want to put that on with it. So it's like, and now we're going to move on to the interior, and let's do that now. So for the interior, we are going to start with the ceiling, which is on the shelf at the top right, pretty much over here, at the grill.
Morjens!
And to do that,
Se on tohon vaikka isäänsä kun soittaa. Kun semmosia on mun asiat, että...
a 10 mil. Just going to move the car a little bit over. The gear stick is just located in the corner here. is right here, bottom. Fall off if you don't have it properly connected. So we want to make sure. The gear stick done. Next up is the handbrake. Now the handbrake can be a little tricky at times because it can tend to fall off if you don't have it properly connected. So we want to make sure that this is on. It is a size 8 to secure it to the car. But there's another one that we've got to do we've got to basically connect up the line after we hook this up. Alright, so make sure this is all the way in. Perfect. Now let's grab a 5mm and we're going to go under the car here, and what we're looking for is the line. So basically you've got this little line, this black line. Into this gauge, the handbrake, and confirm that it doesn't want to fall off. Yep. Well, I'm going to leave it on since we don't want the car sort of rolling around now. Now we want the front seat, so we've got the driver and the passenger seat. I might do the passenger first. Let's put you in there. I'll do the driver's side. Now you can go with the seats, because that can be a little glitchy. And to do those, it is a 9mm, and we've got to do 4 bolts. Now these are a little tricky as well.
No. There you go. There you go. God, let's go.
see how the... Yes, and same thing pretty much.
Word ik net finish tabs voor 24,99.
Grote, beter. Het klein is ook geen zicht. Bepaal het formaat met de Coolblue app en kon tv's vergelijken in onze winkel. Vandaag besteld, morgen geïnstalleerd. Dus de popcorn er al maar bij. Coolblue. Alles voor uw zin.
The passenger, while we're doing the seats, we may as well do the rear seats as well, which is just located outside. Now, once again, you got to be careful with the rear seat because it can be a little glitchy. And in you go. This should be the same size, so size 9. And there's basically two we've got to do. There's one at the front on the left here and one on the right. And boom, that's the rear seat all in. That's good. So the seats are in. Now, two we've got to do. There's one at the front on the left here and one on the right. And boom, that's the rear seat all in. That's good. So the seats are in. Now, here, or we could do the subwoofer panel. But I kind of like the back panel because we don't really have any like subwoofers in the car. It looks kind of nice, the back panel. Alright, next up is the dashboard. And once again, the dashboard can be a little glitchy. It can break your windshield if you don't put it in right, sort of thing. So you just want to be pretty gentle with it. It can also move the car as well if you're not careful. So put that in. And to do that, it is a 10 mil. Now there is one bolt there, and there is another bolt on the inside here where the glove box was. Now there is one bolt there, and there is another bolt on the inside here where the glove box was. It's getting a bit dark. I reckon we should probably turn that on for a bit of better lighting. Alright, so next up is the dashboard meters. Now with the dashboard meters, you can install either the clock gauge or the RPM gauge. But for the sake of the tutorial, we're going to install the clock gauge since we have it. And what we want to do is put it in that hole there, just like that. And what we want to do is flip it upside down and do these bolts here, which is a 7 mil. So we'll go with 7 mil and just do this one up. Boom, that's done. Now we're going to grab a 6 mil and pick this up, and we're going to carefully, what we want to do is carefully put in the dashboard meters, just like that. And we have 2 screws on the side here that we need to do, which is a 6 mil. So I'll just grab a 6 mil there. And basically we want to do these 2 bolts on the dashboard here. Oh, and I forgot the radio. I completely forgot about the radio. My bad. Well, good thing that doesn't need to be bolted in. We can simply just grab it, which is just over here. And we can basically just put it in just like that. And it's already hooked up. It just needs wiring so it can actually work. And that there is the interior. So we've got the seats, the gear stick, the handbrake, wheel, the dashboard. Yeah, we've got all that good stuff. So that's all the interior done. That was pretty quick, pretty simple. I reckon we're going to move on to the engine now, so let's get started. Alrighty then, so we are now ready to start building the engine. There is a lot we got to go over through when it comes to the engine. So, what we're going to start with is the block. The block's just down here, and now what we want to grab is the main bearings, which is just over here near the... Next up is the crankshaft here, and just pop that in, simple, right? Now what we want to grab is the main bearings, which is just over here near the rocker shaft. There is 1, 2, and 3. 3 goes to the left, 2 goes into the middle, and 1 goes into the right. I might move this air filter just out of the way, just so I can put my spanner set here. Particularly for the main bearings, they are a 9mm, and there is 2 that we've got to do on each bearing. That's those done. Next are the pistons. Now what I like to do is flip it up. Let's right side again and grab piston 1. Now, by just looking at the piston, you can actually tell that they're pretty worn down. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you can get a piston that still has like a silver... Now, by just looking at the piston, you can start again and grab piston 1. Now, by just looking at the piston, you can actually tell that they're pretty worn down. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you can get a piston that still has like a silver head on it, and basically that means it's at least like 50%, or maybe more if you're lucky. But it's all random. But in this case, we didn't get so lucky, and we got all the bad pistons, so they will need replacing pretty soon. What we're going to do is we're going to flip it upside down again, and we're going to grab a 7mm. And we've got 2 nuts that we've got to do on each piston. Right, there we go.
Hei, olen Simo.
Pistons are now done. So what we're going to do is flip the engine up again, just like that. And we are now going to put on the head gasket. Just boom, there it is. And then now we are going to do the cylinder head, which is next to the oil pan here. Pop that on, and basically this is a 7mm. There we go. Now with that done, we want to get the rocker shaft, which is here next to the alternator, and pop that on, just like that. And for the rockers, it is a size 8. Now, as you can see, the rocker shaft, by looks of where the screws are and that, they're not really aligned very well. Usually, if you want, you can like align the rockers like right now, sort of thing, while you have the rocker cover knots that we've got to do, 3 on each side. There we go, the rocker cover is now on. Next, we are going to do the headers over here next to the starter. That just goes on, just like that. And that is a 8mm. That's an 8mm for the headers. Now, there's 5 nuts that we got to do on this one. There's two that are on this. One in the middle up here, and another 2 up here. Now they are kind of engine on the hoist here, the motor hoist. You can do it with. Alrighty, so what we're gonna do is we are gonna put the engine on the hoist here, the motor hoist. You can do it with or without the motor hoist. It's really up to you. But for this video, I'm just gonna do it with the motor hoist. And by the looks of it, I think I might have to put it on the ground here. I keep forgetting about that. Alrighty, there we go. So what we want to do is, a lot of people still have trouble with this. You want to align these chains up basically with this, right? So as you can see, not aligned properly. And you know why? Because the engine is actually the wrong way. So you want the engine to face this way. So the spark plugs are towards the hoist, right? Oh, we may actually have to improvise a little here. Hop you on there like that. Put that back a bit. Go up. Push it forward. Boom. There we go. You can see that the bolt actually appears, sort of thing. And to do those up, it is a 10mm. And basically, we do one up here and do the other on the other side. And boom. There we go. Engine is now connected to the motor hoist. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be real gentle. It can got 1, 2, 3, and 4. what we want is the spark plug wrench to do those up. So
The jam, pump it up while your feet are thumping. And the jam is pumping. Look at him, the crowd jumping.
Zolder bij Engel. Het ideale moment om je interieur mooier te maken. Profiteer van 30% korting op je nieuwe keuken en gratis 5 jaar garantie op je elektro. Want ook dat is een verandering.
use the spark plug wrench and screw these in all the way. Now, when you do the spark plugs, make sure they're all the way in, like all the way. You don't want one click off, because when you have that, you'll have starting problems, you'll just have electrical problems really when you don't have all spark plugs in. So like, you can't have that, you gotta have it all the way in, right? So all of those are in, let's not touch the spark plugs anymore, right? Alright, next up is the camshaft, which is this little rod thing here, and this is a bit tricky to get in, but basically we want to get it in that little hole there. So what I like to do is sort of just do that sort of thing. So have the face of the engine, that's all in. Where we have to align the camshaft gear. Is that. So we've just moved it. Oh, we don't want to touch that anymore. Is the timing cover, which is this thing over here, and basically we put that right over the camshaft, just like that. And to do the cover up, it is a 6mm, and we got to do 6 of these. Put on the water pump, which is just next to the pulley, water pump pulley and the alternator, and we're going to put you at the top just like that. And for the water pump, it is a 7mm, and we've got to do up 5 nuts, or actually technically 1 bolt and 4 nuts.
Dit koopmeteren kan echt verrassen. Want met 1000 kleine leeuwtjes maak je 1001 kleine prijsgerechten. Laat je inspireren op deleize.be. Deleize. Mee met het leven.
Vlamingen laten Europa schitteren. Wij vragen elkaar of Sava wel echt Sava is.
Alrighty, there we go, that's all on. Next up is the water pump pulley. That just goes right on top of you, and that should be the same size as 7, so that's pretty easy. Alrighty, there we go, that's the water pump pulley now on. Next up is the crankshaft pulley, which is this thing over here. Just goes. Next up is the alternator, which is this thing over here. This basically connects to the right side here, just like that. Now we've got 2 bolts that we've got to do. One is a 10mm, which is a tricky one. Basically, it's behind the alternator right there. So don't forget that one, because I have in the past, and it's not too bad, but it's definitely not a good idea. And for the other one, it is a 7mm, which is just up here. So pretty much you got the alternator, and then whoop, there it is. Make sure you get that one as well. And there is a screw that we've got to do up as well. So what I will do is grab the alternator belt. Since we're doing the alternator, you may as well chuck the belt on. And pretty much you just line it up, boom, there we go. I wouldn't line the alternator belt right now, but for the tutorial, I'm going to show you guys what it's like when you don't have it all fully. So we're just going to leave the alternator. So when we start, alright, next up is the distributor, which is this thing here, next to the oil filter and near the flywheel. And this basically goes on the front, just basically where that hole is. Boom, there we go. And to do that up, we need a screwdriver. We can align this, but we can't really do it when the engine's off, because you can really only align it with hearing like a little noise, little ringing noise. So when we start up the car, we'll just notice all the noises that it's making. You can really only align it with hearing like a little noise, little ringing noise. So when we start up the car, we'll just notice all the noises that it's making. We'll fix it all up, and you'll see. Next up is the engine plate. That's it there, next to the oil pan, and this goes on the opposite side of the engine. So we're now working on this side of the engine. Next up is the starter, which is this thing over here, and this goes basically where that hole is. Boom. And to do that, it is a 7mm. There is a hidden bolt that you can do. Now there's one that's open, which is this one, and there's the other one. The other one is just basically sort of under the starter, pretty much. That's another one that I used to forget back in the day, but now it's like just drilled into my brain, so it's like I can't really forget it. Next up is the flywheel, which is this thing here, and we're going to basically put that on the engine plate, just like that, and that is also a 7mm. So we're going to do that up real quick. we are going to do the clutch assembly. So basically we've got the cover plate, the pressure plate and the clutch disc. What I start with is I put the pressure plate onto the plate here, the cover plate, boom, and then I grab the clutch disc and then put it in there, and then basically boom, you got the clutch right here, and this goes right on top of the flywheel. And to do that one up, it is a size 6. Alright, there we go. That's the clutch all done. Next up is the oil pan, which is this thing over here. Under the engine, just like that. Now we've got 2 bolts for this. I might start with the big one, which is a 13, and that's basically the big one just down under here. You definitely don't want that one to be undone, because when you put the oil in, you don't want it to just come right back out. So that's definitely one you should do first. And then to do the others, to hold it in place to the block, it is a 7mm, and there is 8 that we've got to do, 4 on each side. One that's sort of hidden, like next to the starters. Alright, there we go, that's the oil pan done. Next up is the gearbox, which is this big thing over here. This goes on facing like that. Now there's 2 bolts that we got to do. I might do, once again, the big one, which is a 10mm. Oh, and it's raining. What do you know? Big bolt is just here, so it's basically, it's kind of hidden. I used to forget it as well. You got the back of the engine, and then it sort of goes down from the headers, and there it is. There we go. So there's that one done. We want to grab a 7mm now, and we want to grab the inspection cover, which is this thing here, and we basically put it on the gearbox like that. Boom. And we basically do up the gearbox.
Rechts heb je de keuze uit meer dan 1000 auto's direct beschikbaar. Kom langs bij de Dex showroom in je buurt of kijk op dex.be. Dex, daarom.
Vertoont uw huid tekenen van veroudering, met de leeftijd verspreiden verouderende cellen zich sneller.
Now, from what I've heard with cover, you can fail emissions or something like that, so make sure you got that inspection cover on. Right, now with that on, we're going to now do the drive gear, which is this thing here. I've had it in the past where this can sort of glitch out, where it falls off randomly when you start the car. So if the car just doesn't move or anything like that, just look under the car and make sure there's nothing under it, like a drive gear or piston or oil. And to do that up, it is a 6mm, and there is 7 that we've got to do. There we go. Now with those done, there is one that's just up the little, like a little rod here. And there's the 7th nut that we've got to do. Boom, that's the drive gear all in. Next up's the carburetor, which is this here. And that just goes on the headers. And to do that, it is an 8mm. And we go, that's the carburetor in. Right, now we're going to do the air filter as well, since we're working with the carburetor. That is a 6mm, and there's two just on the back here. They got like a little support thing there. It comes up. Alright, now with that done, we are now going to grab the oil filter, which is all in the wrap. None of that can really affect it. Typically, you just do that up by hand with the scroll wheel. So forward to do up and backwards to undo. Next up is the fuel pump, which is this thing here next to the electrics. That basically goes just there, sort of thing. That's also a 7mm, which we don't have. I thought we did. Okay, well, it's a 7mm to do the fuel pump. Now there's two that we've got to do, and there they are. Those are the two nuts that we've got to do. And boom, there we go. Alrighty, that's everything for the engine. You may have noticed that we have an oil filter here. This is like the one that really you get for free, and I honestly don't use it really. I don't think I really have, to be honest, because it looks dirty. Like, I actually put it in the Satsuma. So what we're gonna do is really carefully move the motor hoist facing the Satsuma. Gonna basically just move it so it's like dead center as possible. Make sure it's not too far forward or too far back. I reckon about there looks pretty good. And to secure the engine to the subframe, we are going to need a 11mm, and there is 3 bolts that we're going to do. But before we do that, we have to lower the engine into the Satsuma. So, alrighty, how are we looking? Yeah, a little too far forward. Let's now pivot back and a bit left. Alright, how's that looking? That's pretty good. I might move it up just a little bit. And as you can see, there's bolts that have appeared. And when those appear, that means the engine can be secured on. So I'll just show you, for example, if it's not properly aligned. Oh. There we go. So the bolts are no longer there. So that means you can't actually put the engine in. And boom, there are the bolts again. Now what I'm going to do is move it a bit back, lower it. And it's best to get it as close as possible to the actual subframe, because if you do it up when it's not near the subframe, it can sort of glitch out where it like moves the engine of light and moves the car, and it's not really good. So it's best to get it as close as possible. So what we're going to do, boom, just do it up 2 clicks and it automatically just clicks in. And basically you want to do up these bolts or you do anything else. So there's 2 at the front here. There's one around the back where the gearbox is. You can see the bolt right there. So you've got the steering rack, the gearbox, and then boom, there's the bolt. They'll also do the same thing. It will appear when you're close enough. The half shafts are already connected. Just got to make sure that's in. Okay, alrighty. So that's the engine put in. Now to get the engine off the hoist, we're going to need a 10mm. And once again, we just come down here and we undo the chains from the block and the headers. Boom, there we go. Hear that little click? There's confirmation that the engine has dismounted off the hoist. Alrighty, look at that. Beautiful. That is fantastic. So the engine is now in the Satsuma and we're almost there. We're almost there. Next we'll do the other engine stuff, so like the fuel tank, the exhaust, the radiator, electrics, the brake lining, clutch lining, all that good stuff. And then after that's done, I think we do the wiring and should be all set, I think. So yeah, let's move on to that. Let's get started, eh? So we're going to start off with the electrics, which is just over here on the shelf. And these go on the left here, next to the regulator, which is that thing there. And basically, well, it just sits in there like that. For the electrics, it is an 8mm.
Ik heb een druk leven. Maar is dit te zien aan mijn gezicht?
Thing here next to the gear linkage, and this pretty much goes just down in the corner here, just below where the electrics was just put in. And for that is also an 8mm, and there's only one bolt we've got to do, and it's just to secure the fuel strainer to the car. Next up is the radiator, which is down the corner here, and this goes at the front, just behind the grille. And for the radiator, it is a 7mm, and we've got to do 4 bolts in total, 2 on each side. Alright, there we go. Now we are going to do the radiator hoses, and the hoses are located radiator in the corner here. We're going to start with radiator hose 3, and this one goes down to the bottom, so where that hole is, and pretty much we want to sort of line it up so it fits. It's a little tricky sometimes, you might have to sort of eyeball it a bit. There we go. So basically you want it to go from there and sort of up and around behind the engine here. We're going to be screwing them in later after we get all the hoses in place. Alright, we're going to grab radiator hose 1. And this one is probably the easiest one. This goes from that hole to that hole there. Boom, just like that. Easy peasy. Now, this one's a little tricky for radiator hose 2 because you might have to play around a bit. But let's see if we can get it in pretty easily. Yep, it's a little tricky. So what you want is for this hose to go from there into there. Alright, now for the radiator hoses, it is pretty simple. You just need a screwdriver and you just scroll up with the mouse wheel and you do up the radiator hoses. Now I must say, if you have the radiator hoses loose, you're going to have leaking problems, like coolant leaking and stuff. So you definitely don't want that. I've had that in a few of my episodes where the radiator is just leaking for no reason. So make sure all your hoses are tight as much as possible. I don't think that clamp has a tighten bit on it. I think it's just 3 that actually, yeah, it's just these you got to do. Now make sure all of them are tightened up, which they are, very well. Alright, next up is the clutch and brake master cylinders. We're going to start with the brake one first. And then we make sure all of them are tightened up, which they are, very well. Alright, next of all, I don't think that clamp has a tighten bit on it. I think it's just 3 that actually, yeah, it's just these you got to do. Now make sure all of them are tightened up, which they are, very well. Alright, next up is the clutch and brake master cylinders. We're going to start with the brake one first. And then we're going to grab the clutch master cylinder, which is over here. Put that right in there. And to secure those in, we are going to need an 8mm. And pretty much we've got, it is a little tricky, but that cylinders. We're going to start with the brake one first. And then we're going to grab the clutch master cylinder, which is over here. Put that right in there. And to secure those in, we are going to need an 8mm. And pretty much we've got, It is a little tricky, but we'll start with the brake one. There's two, one at the top and one at the bottom. This one has a right and a left nut that we've got to do. A little tricky, a bit tight, but they're not that bad to locate really. So 2 on each cylinder. Now we're going to be doing the line and do. A little tricky, a bit tight, but they're not that bad to locate really. So 2 on each cylinder. Now we're going to be doing the lining for them. We'll start with the clutch lining first, since that's the easiest one. Pretty much the lining goes at the back here. A little tricky sometimes. Pretty much you want to put it right there, and you can see it sort of just lays up against the car here. With the clutch lining, it is a 7mm. Now these are a little tricky to locate, so what you want to do is you want to follow the line, and there it is. There's the nut that we've got to do. There's one that goes into the cylinder, the clutch cylinder. If you follow the line, you'll see there's a little thing here. You can't do that up because I don't know what that is. And you follow it, keep following it, and then there's one right there that goes into the like drive gear, gearbox sort of thing. Yeah, so that's the, and then there's one right there that goes into the like drive gear, gearbox sort of thing. Yeah, so that's the clutch lining all done. Next up is the brake lining, and then you'll see there's a little thing here. You can't do that up, it's just got to do. There's one that goes into the cylinder, the clutch cylinder. If you follow the line, you'll see there's a little thing here. You can't do that up, it's just, I don't know what that is. And you follow it, keep following it, and then there's one right there that goes into the like drive gear, gearbox sort of thing. Yeah, so that's the clutch lining all done. Next up is the brake lining. Brake lining pretty much sits where the clutch lining also sits, so right there. Actually, it technically sits below it, yeah, so just a bit below where the clutch lining sits. Now, with the brake lining, pay attention because this gets pretty tricky. You're going to need a 7mm, which we've already got. We're going to start with the engine part first. So, we've got 2 nuts here for the cylinder. We'll do those ones first.
The jam, pump it up while your feet are stumping. And the jam is pumping. Look ahead, the crowd is jumping. I want a place to stay. Let your booty on the floor tonight. Make my day.
If you go down in the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise. If you go down in the woods today, you better go in disguise. For every bear that ever there was will gather their forces, because today's the day.
Let op, we verblijven wie bijblijven.
Also, I should mention that there is 11 nuts that we've got. Can see it? Do those. Then over here you see that there's like a little thing over here, and there is some nuts that we've got to do as well, so we'll do those. Right, so that's 3 there, and that there is, oh no, there's one more as well. There's a little tricky one. I nearly actually forgot about that. There's one at the top here, so you got 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. I feel like I'm only just not here, so you got 1, 2, 3, and 4. There we go. I feel like I've only just noticed that. Alright, so that there, we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we're going to move on to the wheels. So the brake lining goes to the wheels pretty much. So you got the line here, comes down, and then there it is. So you got the spindle here, and pretty much it connects into that. And you want to do that nut up there. So you can sort of see where the line goes, and there's the nut there. Same on the other side. There's the line, comes down onto the spindle. So you can sort of see where the line goes, and there's the nut there. Same on the other side. There's the line, comes down onto the spindle, and you just do that nut. Boom, that's the front wheels done. So we're going to move over to the rear now. The rear ones are a little easier to find, but what you want to do is you want to lean in, and there is the line there. You can see the bolt, or the nut, actually just sitting there, sort of floating. So if we do that one up, boom, it sits there perfectly. Same on the other side, just secures it right to the trail arm. And there we go, that's the 11th brake line. Same on the other side, just secures it right to the trail arm. And there we go, that's the 11th brake lining that we've done. So keep count of how many you've done, because if you miss one, you might be, having some braking troubles, which you definitely don't want. All right, next up is the fuel tank. So pretty much you want to get under the car here, and this sits at the rear, where the rear wheels are. Boom, just like that. For the fuel tank, it is a 7mm, which we've already got. For the fuel tank, it is a 11 bolts to secure the fuel tank to the Satsuma. And there is 7 that we've got to do. And then there are to secure the fuel tank to the Satsuma. And there is 7 that we've got to do. To secure the fuel. For the fuel tank, it is a 7mm, which we've already got. For the fuel tank, it is a 11 bolts to secure the fuel tank to the Satsuma. And there is 7 that we've got to do. And then there is 3 at the front of the fuel tank here. seen this bolt here, I mean the nut, and when that's not connected in, you don't get any fuel pretty much. So we're going to be doing that right now, and for that nut it is a 12 mil. So you want to come down here, and then there it is pretty much. Next up is the fuel tank pipe. This one's pretty simple, don't need any tools. What you want to do is you want to get to the, you want to come down here, and then there it is pretty much. Next up is the fuel tank pipe. This one's pretty simple, don't need any tools. What you want to do is you want to get to the rear right side here, and you want to have to play around a little bit to get it in the right spot. There we go. Boom. That's that done. Don't need any tools. Next up is the exhaust pipe. The exhaust pipe is located just down under here. And what we can do is that since it's already like facing kind of the right way, all we can do is grab it, straighten it up a little bit, and simply pick it up, rotate it, jump up, and line it up. Just like that. Easy peasy. Sometimes your exhaust might fall off. If it does, just once again, let it sit for a bit and just try to put it back on. If your exhaust keeps falling off, just, restart the game if it continues to fall off. And to do that, it is a 7 mil, and we've got 3 bolts that we've got to do. One at the back here. Right, but now we want to move down, and pretty much there is 2 that go, there's the exhaust pipe, and it goes straight into the headers. There's 2 bolts to secure that one in. There we go, those are all done. Next up is the exhaust muffler. Restart the game if it continues to, and let it sit for a bit and jump up and line it up. Just like that. Easy peasy. Sometimes your exhaust might fall off. If it does, just once again let it sit for a bit, jump up and line it up. All we can do is grab it, straighten it up a little bit, and simply pick it up, rotate it, jump up and line it up. Just like that. Easy peasy. Sometimes your exhaust might fall off. If it does, just once again let it sit for a bit and just try to put it back on. If your exhaust keeps falling off, just restart the game if it continues to fall off. And to do that, it is a 7 mil, and we've got 3 bolts that we've got to do. One at the back here. Right, now we want to move down, and pretty much there is 2 that go, there's the exhaust pipe and it goes straight into the headers. There's 2 bolts to secure that one in. There we go, those are all done. Next up is the exhaust muffler, which is here. And this goes, actually I might just line it up first. Yeah, this goes out the back here. See where the pipe is? That's the end of the exhaust pipe. Alright, that's the exhaust done. Next up is the gear linkage, which is down here. It's the old battery, which doesn't work. Now, this goes under the car, so what we want to do is we want to line it up sort of with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop it and have it as straight as possible. And basically, yeah, you want to line up this little end bit here with that, and boom, there you go. To do that one up, it is a 5mm. And what we're going to do is we're going to jump on down, and there are 2 bolts and 1 nut that we've got to do. We'll start with the easy ones, which is down here, which connect into the gearbox. Pretty much. This one I used to forget a lot. Like, this was probably the biggest part, which I forgot to do up. So don't do that, right? Make sure you do the gear linkage, because otherwise you won't be able to get in gear. Those 2 are done. Now you want to follow the gear linkage up, and there will be a nut right there that you have to do up. And that's it. I know there's another little thingo that goes up here that goes to really nowhere. You can't really do anything up there. And that's it. I know there's another little thingo that goes up here. Those 2 are done. Now you want to follow the gear linkage up, and there will be a nut right there that you can... I know there's another little thing that goes up here that goes to really nowhere. You can't really... We've got to do the batteries, so we're going to grab the battery. Yeah, that's everything for... Pull the hood lock. This looks so done. But the mud flaps, we've got to put them, you can't forget buttons, and a lot of people right here, a few things.
Europe, Eurosplash, Eurochip, Great Splash, Europe, music en vakanties in Europa.
Hei, olen Timo Kumppani-lehdestä. Minulla on...
The reason why is because you can't really remove the headlight with the grill on. So we're going to take that off first. And the headlights are a 7mm. So we'll take these off real quick. We'll put the light bulbs in as well, for those who are just like really triggered by me not doing that first. I do apologise. Alright, now with those off, we can now do the wiring for the headlight. I think we already have a 7. Yeah, we already have a 7. Now we want to undo one bolt. I repeat, one bolt on the starter. Alright, not both, but one. And that one bolt is this one here. Not the one that's hidden at the back, but just the one at the front here. We just want to undo it all the way, right? So the starter should not be able to come off, right? We just want that bolt undone so we can actually wire it. So that there is everything that we need to undo for the wiring. A thing I want to mention is that to like the right, let's hook that up to the rear light left. See that? Nothing happened. So pretty much it was just a no-no. It didn't make a noise, it didn't do anything. What it does is it kind of resets it, but it also kind of confuses you a little bit because now the game is thinking, are you hooking up the alternator to something or the rear light to something? Now, we're going to start with the rear because the rear of the car is pretty easy to wire up. Now, let's say I want to start with the rear harness connector, right? Look at that. It's hooked up to the left rear light automatically because I tried to hook it up to something else which didn't work. I feel like I'm explaining this really weirdly. But pretty much the game is a little funky like that. You just, if you mess something up and then try to like hook something, that little noise there, that there, you will have to, the right rear light, there's a little hole that you can see there, and pretty much that just hooks up just like that. That there is all of the rear done. Let's now move on to the headlights. Why not, since we're here? Now, there is a front light connector, which is under the battery here, which is that right there, that little connector there. So what we want to do is press F, and press F to that. And now, we press F on front lights connector again, and headlight left. Boom. Those are the headlights done. I'll do these up after we've done all the wiring, so we'll just leave it be. Now with the front lights connector, right, we go from there to the main harness connector, which is these little wires here, not the fuse box, the main harness connector. What we want to do, press F, boom. Those are the front lights connector hooked up. Now let's go from the main harness connector to the regulator, which is this little small white thing here. Now let's go main harness connector to positive terminal on the battery. There it is. Let's go main harness connector to ignition coil. Main harness connector to rail. Let's go main harness connector to positive terminal on the battery. There it is. Let's go main harness connector to ignition coil, main harness connector to radiator, which is, you can see the wire from the radiator fan. What we want to do is hook that up. Cool. There's the radiator fan all hooked up. Let's go positive terminal to the starter. You might accidentally do battery ground connector. That's not right. You want the starter. So you want the positive terminal to
Olisin soittanut siitä, että lasitko sä mulle noita puita? Ostasin polttopuuta koko traktorillinen, niin minä maksan kyllä hyvin, että siitä ei oo ongelmaa. Tuo sitten kun pystyt
Hallo? Ai, 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 ai.
on vähän vaavampaa jakkaa. Ostot kaljaa ja makkaroa, niin eiköhän sillä pärjää. Ja voi tehdä varmaan lisääkin tarvihen näitä, niin voit jaksa tehdä siitä rahaa. Ei muuta kuin morjens. Niin, maistetaan nyt se. Minkälaiset kirjat on poika tehnyt? Aivan helvetin hyvää kiljoa, hei. Jumalauta. Aivan täydellistä kiljoa. Jos sä mennä mun enemmän myydä, niin osaat tosta vaan. Siinä vaan. Vaan.
Terve, terve! Mikä oli pojalla mielessä? Hyvää päivää ja tervetuloa Teimon kaappaan. Kuulepa, nyt olisi oikein sisun näköinen homma tässä. Käy jakamassa näitä H-kaupan mainoksia tonne kyläläisille, niin minä maksan sulle sitten vähän siitä vaivan palakkoa. Ei muuta kuin käy puottamassa voi jokaisen laatikon yhden mainoksen, niin sillähän se siitä sitten. Miltäs kuulostaa? No niin, ei muuta kuin kiitos ja hellurei.
Moro moro, mitä äijä?
Hei, onks tää nyt se Peräjärven kova jätkä olevinaan täällä? Onks tää osaa mitään tehdä ja mitä tää tulee tää promosakkaas tänne riehumaan? Ei vittu, mene vittu jo.
Sinä taas. Minulla nyt ei ole kyllä sulle puhdasta pilliä vaihtanut, ei tuolle sinua ennenkään haitannut. Normaalisti nappaisin näistä rikkeistä jo ajokortin pois, mutta kun on perstasku täynnä jo pois otettuja kortteja, niin kirjoitan sen sijaan sakon. Ole hyvä.
Painu helvettiin.
Yeah, hell no, bro. I ain't doing that. You know when my last save was though? I want to kill myself right now. Yeah, I'm done for the day.